Welcome back. We are now at part 4 of this week's new comics bitches. So let's get right into it. Okay, so Avengers number 20. It's solid. It's good. Not very good, not great, but it's good. You know, the tale and the art, because this does obviously tie into what's going on in New Avengers, but New Avengers seems to be handling it a lot better. The writing's tighter, the art's better, which is not to say that I don't like Daniel Acuna. He's a really, really terrific artist. You know, his more kind of retro style is really cool, but it's a little too light. This series almost requires a little bit heavier hand. But we have Osborn, we have Norman Osborn, and his kind of trying to continue or pick up where the Dark Reign left off, and using basically the tried and true divide and conquer technique. As far as splitting the Avengers up and seeing what he can, how he can take them down more separately than together. And, but also his most interesting weapon is using the truth. And that's a great point that actually Hawkeye himself makes in this. And of course, Hawkeye is the guy that wanted to kill Norman Osborn not too long ago. Said that this is a guy that needs to be put down during Dark Reign, when he was still Ronin. But, Osborn using the press and the truth to paint the Avengers as the bad guys, because essentially, and everything that he says is true, is that Osborn was held indefinitely without trial. It does raise some questions as to, it puts seeds of doubt in the public's mind about how much these people can actually protect us. Who are these Avengers to say that this is right and this is wrong? These are the bad guys and we're the good guys. Using that, it's I dare say it reminds me of Fox News, but I don't want to be that crass. So, but otherwise, we have these kind of Spider-Man Hulk hybrids here. We have these little tiny Wasp agents, flying giant man hybrid of something else. I mean, it's just wow, that's cool, man. It's still a pretty still a tight story. It's just it's not quite up to where this story needs to be yet. And that may come very soon, but it's just not there yet. So this is a 3.5 out of 5. Like I said, there's nothing really wrong with it, but it just doesn't quite get over that hump to make it really above average. So, Uncanny X-Men number 3. This is a series that has... because you have, on one side, you have Wolverine and the X-Men, which has been great. It's been fantastic. Every issue of it has been an absolute joy to read. There's not been a single note on that whole series that I found to be false, or it doesn't work, even when it's trying to be fun, or even when it is, because it is fun overall. It is a fun series. And, this is a much more kind of deathly serious book. Because, I mean, when you have something called the Extinction Team that Cyclops is heading up, you get the point that this is going to be a darker and more intense book than what Wolverine and the X-Men is, which is, to me, kind of surprising just because of there actually being this separation here of, Wolverine's supposed to be the big bad guy, right? And Cyclops is supposed to be kind of the light side of the X-Men. He's the he's the lighter side, a little bit more pragmatic, where Wolverine's the big animal, but we have Wolverine over here having the more fun book, and we have Cyclops over here having the much more serious book. there, now we have, kind of the confrontation between the X-Men and Sinister coming to a head, quite literally, because you have that Celestial's head. And there's a great moment where Cyclops just basically tells Sinister to shut the fuck up. Because, like, will you please stop talking already? Because he does that, and it's infuriating as a reader. It's like, man, somebody just clocked this motherfucker. And when Hope, shoots him full of holes and everything like that, and when Danger shuts him down, those are really badass moments, man. I love those moments. And, it took me a couple reads to kind of get how really dense this particular issue was. And, and that final scene where it's basically these X-Men facing down Celestials. They're gods. They're facing them down. They don't blink. And they say, this world is under our protection. You can leave. And they do. And that is basically what Cyclops is working towards. He wants to make this team he wants to paint a huge target on this team, which is why essentially he has brought the most powerful of the mutants with him. The scene, just for instance, the scene with, Emma basically, becoming unhardened, if you will, and, basically making Namor use, clamp his arm down real tight on hers to act as a tourniquet, because her arm essentially is severed, and that's fucked up. Or broken off, more to say. I mean, this book will never be as kind of pure entertainment as Wolverine and the X-Men will be, but it's getting close to being on the same level of just pure comic book artistry. And with, Kieran Gillen and, Carlos Pacheco, doing really tremendous work on the art, it's okay, it's actually good to have this kind of, to have this more serious X-Men book out there, as being kind of like the other end of the flagship titles. So again, this is really solid. I'd say, this is, a 4 to 4.5 out of 5. Really strong issue, their best yet. FF number 13. This is just an off week for Hickman. It's something that I realized because, I didn't care for Ultimates number 5, and I really didn't care for this issue either. It's just, as I talked about with FF number 12, Bobbio's art, first of all, doesn't work for me at all. I don't like it. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. It just doesn't work. And there's some really interesting moments that they have here in this book between Valeria and between Nathaniel. But that's really about it. Everything else that's going on, and this may be another one of those things where it's like, this book may work better in trade because, as I said before about FF, it's a good series overall. It's really strong, but it takes a while to get to make sense of these kind of side stories that they keep doing. And this isn't necessarily a side story, but it's more of, it's Doctor Doom and, one of the evil Reeds and all the kids and Nathaniel and Kristoff, and it's taking away from what's happening in Fantastic Four, which is really awesome. And this is where I have to come in. So this was a 2.5 out of 5. Aside from a couple moments here and there, peppered throughout, it really just didn't work for me. Again, in reflection, this may turn out to be a lot more important than it actually is, or it may end up working out better than I'm seeing it right now, because again, it's just it seems like a very small piece of the puzzle. But it is making me think about dropping this title and just going to trades. But I do have to take some moments to talk about Fantastic Four number 601. Now, that came out the previous week. So, and I didn't do anything for the previous week because we had Christmas, we had the 1-year anniversary of the death of my mother. These were all very important events, and I just didn't have the time to do this. So I wanted to do it now, before the new year, so that we have, essentially our final New Comics bitches for the year. And so I got to talk about this issue. Fantastic Four number 601 had, to me, what was one of my favorite single moments of the entire year in comics. And that is the lighting of the number 4 in the sky. I saw that and I was just grinning from ear to ear. I mean, this seems like it's kind of forced, but no, I mean, this is really how I was looking while I saw that. When I saw that picture that Steve Epting drew, and that moment, and you feel this kind of collective shudder throughout the entire, throughout everybody. And we have this moment that indicates that Johnny Storm is back. And he is here to save the fucking day. It was absolutely glorious. I mean, I kind of got choked up. Because it was just like, I feel bad. There's a part of me that kind of regrets that he kind of came back so quickly. But at the same time, he couldn't have picked a better time to come back. Because you've got the whole fucking superpowered world out to stop the Kree and their annihilation of Earth. And you've got all these different things going on, but just that one page, if for nothing else alone, that was one of the picks of the week last week. So it was really just a tremendous book. So that's where Hickman is really doing some great stuff right now, is with Fantastic Four. I mean, never in a million years I think I'd be like really Fantastic Four, yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, it just never was one of those titles that really resonated with me, but now it's really starting to. And part of the reason for that is FF, but the other big part of it is, hey man, there's some of the Fantastic Four that Hickman's been working on has been fucking tremendous. I mean, with 600 being one of my favorite issues of the whole year, and 601 not quite on the same level, but damn close. Definitely one of my picks for Book of the Week of last week, like I said. So, anyway, we are going to move along very quietly. Just one last thing for this segment, and then we'll go from there. Crossed Badlands, opening salvo. Now, basically what we're going to get here is a bi-weekly series that is going to be rotating creative teams for a new Crossed arc. Because apparently Crossed Psychopath is over. I don't know. I didn't even read the final issue. But it's going to be for, I think we have 3 to 4 issues coming from Garth Ennis. I think it's 4 issues apiece, either 3 or 4. So we've got, a segment from Garth Ennis. We're going to have a segment from Jamie Delano, or Delano, however exactly you pronounce his last name. And then we're going to have a series from David Lapham. Now, once they get to David Lapham, I'm probably going to try kind of drop off here. So, I mean, that's really all I have to say about this. And the fact that this was $1.99, it was 8 pages with 1 splash page. So essentially all this is, I mean, this could have been, I talked about this with another comic a couple weeks ago, this could have been a free teaser that they just gave out. But it wasn't. It cost a fucking $1.99. So I wasn't too pleased about that. So, but anyway, so FF, like I said, 2.5 out of 5. Fantastic Four 601, 5 out of 5. Crossed Badlands, interesting. So but you know, the cost went off. You know, I would say cost-wise 0 out of 5, story-wise 3.5 out of 5. So rounding it off, about 2. So we'll be right back with more. Okay.